Hello everyone, my name is Gloria and welcome to my show, Artist Highlights. And I have Peter Bruun here with me today. I've been knowing Peter 5 or 6 years. And he's just a wonderful artist and curator, and that's why I have him on the show. But I know him from the New Day campaign. But I'm going to have Peter tell you about himself and the New Day campaign. Peter?
Hi, Gloria.
Hi.
Thanks for having me on your show.
You're welcome.
So I am an artist and I'm a curator, which basically means I organize exhibitions. And for years I have used art as a way to bring people together around issues and ideas. And for the past 4 years have been focusing a lot of that energy on the New Day campaign, which is an initiative that uses arts programming and public engagement to challenge stigma and discrimination associated with mental illness and substance use, making the world a more healing place.
I always like that. But can you tell them about how you got involved in the New Day campaign?
Sure, I have no problem with that. I've shared this a lot. On February 11th, 2014, my eldest daughter died of a drug overdose. And at the time, it was clear to me that we needed to speak aloud about how she died, to have people understand that it wasn't weakness or immorality, but a disease that she died from. And when we spoke aloud about it, people responded from all over the place with gratitude for sharing our story. And I felt moved to do something about the stigma around these issues, because I'm convinced that if stigma weren't there, she'd still be alive. And so the good that has come out of this is the movement that has been built called the New Day campaign, where people who are hurting, people who are artists, people who are healing have come together to share their art and their stories, helping to speak out loud about what previously was spoken in whispers, and just normalizing what affects so many of us. So that's really what the New Day campaign has been about, and you've been a central part of it.
Yes, and it has brought joy to my life.
Mm-hmm.
I have talked to you about how I started painting
Correct.
with the death of my nephew, and it just healed me. The painting heals. I didn't talk about it at first, and then I'm talking about it, and I'll let people know that art is healing, and there's people there who will love you and who will help you heal and help you cope. And I wanted to say thank you so much.
No, thank you. And you mentioned art is healing, and the important thing to realize is all the many ways art is healing. It's healing to make it, it's healing to share it, it's healing to come together around it. It's a way for us to let out the things that are maybe too hard to speak of without that vehicle of art to carry those things. And then a supportive community coming together, appreciating that art and being compassionate around the story. So whether it's opioid addiction or suicide ideation or anxiety or grief, the healing that comes together from the making and the sharing is powerful.
It's powerful. I want you to tell them how you have taken this all around Maryland. You have had dozens of exhibits. Please tell them.
Sure. So in 2015, when we launched, it was extraordinary. We started in Baltimore, and because of the appeal of this initiative, and because I'd had experience organizing people, we ended up in late 2015 having 16 art exhibitions in the Baltimore area and 63 events of all kinds. You were at many of them.
Yes.
And 3,000 people came to the events, and out of that there was this appetite for more. I then worked with a group for about 18 months to try to launch the New Day campaign really as a nonprofit organization. After 2015, I personally was ready for a rest. I did not want to run an organization. I love the programming.
Yes.
I love the work of the programming, but I know it's a different thing to run an organization.
Yes.
And after 18 months, we got very close to launching this as a nonprofit organization separate from me. But it turned out to be a model that was not quite viable. So after those 18 months and after some reflection, I took from the advisory group, or they rather returned back to me, the brand of the New Day campaign to become an initiative under my own studio practice, Bruun Studios. And so really, instead of a nonprofit model, it became a for-profit model where, as opportunity and funding was available, I would work with communities to do exhibitions and events. So today is April 28th, I think.
Yes.
And yesterday we had our final event for an exhibition called Wellness in the Storm in Dorchester County on the Eastern Shore. We had an exhibition up all month, and that is an example of the kind of work I've been doing. In the past year, we've had projects, and projects mean usually an exhibition with several events to bring people together around public awareness, people-to-people connecting, and healing. We've had those projects in Harford County, Kent County, Allegheny County, and Dorchester County, as well as a couple of small projects and events here in Baltimore and
Yes.
Baltimore County. And it's been spectacular. And we have another event coming up in June called an exhibition called Sticks and Stones, and that's going to be at the Institute for Integrative Health. And you're in that show.
Yes, yes.
And we are having the New Day campaign is having 2 events. There's a third event associated with this, which I really can't speak to yet. But the events I'm having are on June 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
PAL Recovery Center and Vet Arts Connect, 2 different programs, are sharing their stories of recovery through the arts and recovery, period.
Yes.
And those 2 organizations and the clients they serve get spotlighted in that event. The other event is called Finale. And the reason it's called Finale is because I am ready to let go of the New Day campaign brand.
Oh, I know that makes me sad.
Yeah, but it's okay. And the reason it's okay, Gloria, is in these 4 years I have observed an army of artists and behavioral health folks connecting and working together to advance healing and understanding through the arts. And those efforts that I'm seeing all around do not need something called the New Day campaign to flourish. And likewise, I, Peter Bruun, am still here. And I don't need the New Day campaign to continue being a force for good in whatever creative way I choose to pursue. So it just feels like the right time to release it.
And it has grown so much. And I think what you started, you could pass a baton on, and people's eyes are open.
Correct.
Organizations' eyes are open to the healing of art.
And that it already is open, and that's a beautiful thing. On June 27th, the event is 6 to 9 p.m. Program starts at 7. We are actually having something called, let's see if I get this name right, Pebble Power Honorees and Fairy Dust Donors. Okay, so what does that mean? Many years ago, when I did a project, not related to the New Day campaign, but another project using art to bring people together around a social justice issue, a good friend and supporter of that project said, Peter, your projects are like pebbles in the pond.
Oh.
They just send out ripples. You know, the pebble plops, it disappears, but it sends out ripples. And I really like that metaphor, the idea of pebbles in the pond. And
Yes.
It really feels like the nature of this creative work for healing. So the Pebble Power honorees are 10 individuals who have worked with the New Day campaign, who in their own creative work are making a difference and look to continue making that difference. And they have Pebble Power.
I like that. Pebble power.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that, y'all. Let's all of us get some pebble power.
And you
we
are-
can do that.
You are one of those honorees, as you know.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So we're going to recognize and sprinkle a little fairy dust on the work of the Pebble Power. So what's the fairy dust? 15 years ago, no, I'm sorry, it wasn't that long, about 12 years ago, when I did one of my first major community-oriented projects and got my first major grant, the person who was responsible for that, when she saw my enthusiasm at getting that grant, she was pleased, and she said, well, everybody likes a little fairy dust sprinkled on their good ideas.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, yeah. So I do too. So the idea of donors are sprinkling fairy dust to make things take flight.
That's beautiful.
And so there are folks who are donating money, both to make this final event a really rich, positive event, and also to award the Pebble Power honorees just a little bit of money, a little bit of fairy dust.
A little bit of fairy dust.
That's right.
I like that fairy dust.
That's right.
I like that whole concept.
Exactly. So the fairy dust donors, who are almost all involved with behavioral health organizations, are going to stand up there and say, we believe in this work so much that we are sprinkling some fairy dust on these artists to keep doing this work. And that's something that, those are connections that are existing and are going forward without something called the New Day campaign. I feel like I'm on a little pond and there are all these little paper boats and they're all getting launched.
Oh.
Yeah, so it feels really good.
Now, I'm going to congratulate you again. I don't know if our audience know this, but Michael Bloomberg, okay, he awarded people or congratulated people and honored people who were helpful and doing wonderful things for the opiate addiction help. And guess who one of those honorees were? Peter Bruun.
Yeah, I honestly, that's very kind of you to mention that.
Yes.
Thank you. I was one of 10, and my presence there is somewhat random. But it was a great honor, and it was almost accidental that it became me. But I do accept the value of the work that I've been doing. I don't feel like, I merit that any more than anyone else. There's plenty of people I personally know who merit it as much as I do. Which isn't the same to say that I don't also merit it for the work I've done with the New Day campaign. Yeah.
It's just wonderful. You have really enriched my life.
As you have mine.
Yes. And I want people to come to this last event. When is it again?
June 27th.
And I want them to know how they can reach out to you.
Sure. So, until the end of June, I can be reached at peter@newdaycampaign.org. You can subscribe to the email list at newdaycampaign.org, www.newdaycampaign.org, and I'll have a newsletter going for a couple more months at least. Yeah, that's that. And you can reach me through the website. You can reach me by email. I'm on Facebook at New Day Campaign. My name's Peter Bruun, B-R-U-U-N.
Yes.
So you can, it's not like my name is John Brown or something. So just don't try to friend the Danish percussionist. Okay. But Gloria, you are one of the many people who, over the past several years, have been a part of my healing at the loss of my daughter, which is what this New Day campaign has really been all about. And it may have benefited others, but it sure has benefited me. And it's folks like you, and you specifically, who have, with your heart, with your creativity, with your optimism, made a difference in making my days better. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.